progressed to a point now that the ear is starting to dry off, and we'll work on the outside of the ear leather first. I try to hold it in the one hand, and that allows me to maneuver it under the airflow. Part the hair up one way, and then come the opposite direction. We'll just walk it back and forth as much as we can. And that helps you dry it much more quickly than just letting it sit still. As the hair right against the leather gets dry, I tend to pull it back a little bit and work on the feathering itself. So we'll just keep rotating it back and forth a couple times. The ear's really starting to improve now. Ears are quite sensitive, so keep a good monitoring on how hot it is. So put my thumb there. If I can't keep my thumb there, it's time to back off the dryer a little bit. And here just underneath and beside the ear, I'll work this area as well. Do the inside of the ear flap. Don't let the air blow straight down the ear canal. That's really uncomfortable and irritates them. So I generally either cover it with my hand, depending where I'm located, or I just tend to fold it over a little bit like this. And again, rotate it around. It's getting pretty dry, so it's tending to blow out of my hands a bit. That's coming on nicely. Minor adjustments to the dryer to get it where you want it. This becomes much more difficult if you've got a handheld dryer. You really have to monitor where that air is going. That ear is almost done now. Jojo, cut down some. Cover the ear and work just underneath it. That's coming along quite nicely now. Have to move further down his neck and shoulder. When he gets to the ears, the other thing that you can look at is getting around his eyes. And here we see he's got a little bit of eye discharge buildup. With a fine comb, just gently tease it out. And over at this point, I'll walk down the muzzle a little bit and see how we can do there. fine. For the muzzle where it gets quite built up with food, I do use the comb a lot. Be careful that the tines don't catch either the nostrils. Very easy to catch in there, or of course his eyes. Good boy, B. And when the comb goes through that smoothly, you can consider the hair basically dry. So we'll move on down to his chest. Much like we did for the back leg, you can rotate the arm up. And now work inside the chest area and the armpits. Nothing particularly difficult or earth-shattering about the technique. Just a matter of repetition and time. And even in the few moments that we filmed this little area, you can start to see it coming along quite well. Maneuvering the table and the dryer there to get me a better angle on the area. You want the hair basically coming as perpendicular as possible to the dog's area that you're drying here, his body. If you're just glancing off the side, you're not doing a whole lot of good. Drive up to his upper arm a little bit. And just make sure it's completely knot free. Just pass the comb through gently. He's actually doing really well. Okay.